Hello, welcome to Access. My name's Nathan and this is a video about open world action adventure survival horror game Days Gone. We recently visited Ben's studio, the makers of the game, and came away with a bunch of info which we're about to tell you right now. Here are 21 things that you didn't know about Days Gone. You probably know that Ben's studio has been making games for PlayStation for over 20 years. Several of the senior team are still the same. Current studio director Chris Reese programmed Bubsy 3D, the studio's first PlayStation title, and has at least a line of code in every game they've made since. And John Garvin, now the creative director of the studio, has written the script for every game since Siphon Filter. Speaking of the early days of Days Gone, the studio also told us that the internal code name for the game was initially Red Chair, a beer which is brewed in Bend, the Oregon town from which the studio takes its name. People at the studio call the systems-driven ecosystem in Days Gone the Freakosystem, after the swarming creatures that populate the wild. This refers to the game's frequently surprising, interdependent, animal-human freaker system. Sure, everything wants to kill you, but they also want to kill each other. Humans on freakers, freakers on humans, freakers on freakers, animals on freakers, and everyone on you. You might have noticed in preview footage that hero Deacon collects freaker ears from every unfortunate swarmer that he kills. We did wonder if there might be some deranged purpose behind this, but really it's just so you can prove to human encampments that you've been out killing and making the world safer. Speaking of which, there are various encampments in Days Gone's open world. They all have a different character and speciality. Some might be better for gaining weapons, others for bike upgrades. So it's a good idea to decide where to concentrate your efforts depending on how you like to play the game. And one of the ways you'll do that is by finding survivors in the wild, saving them and then sending them to a particular camp to boost their numbers and earn new trust and rewards. Let's talk about combat. Ben's studio designed 3 distinct but overlapping ways to approach combat in Days Gone: stealth, run and gun, and planned attacks. To accommodate stealth, designers implemented crouching, as well as hiding using things like long grass and dumpsters. Noise scales with speed, so the slower you go, the quieter you are. The ability to manipulate AI movement is important, so Deacon can throw rocks and noisemakers to distract enemies. And they wanted stealth to feel powerful too, so they gave Deacon deadly takedowns which he can perform while unseen. The crossbow is a powerful part of Deacon's stealth approach, partly because it's silent and so good for stealth, and partly because Deacon can craft new bolts from trees, so ammo is always easy to come by. Deacon can also craft various kinds of bolts aside from standard ouchie ones. Residue bolts are made with samples from freaker dens and cause human enemies to freak out and turn against each other. In designing run and gun gameplay, the studio went for 3 quick access weapon slots, sidearm, rifle and special, to increase variety. Ammo is valuable, and to make your decisions more deliberate, ammo isn't shared across all your guns. You'll have to have the right caliber for your weapon. There's a cover system, and even when you break stealth, it pays to be aware of the noise you're making. Sound can escalate your situation by attracting other enemies of all kinds. Melee weapons are a crucial part of run and gun gameplay, for clutch situations where you don't have time to reload or to save ammo altogether. Variety is important here too. There's a range of 1- and 2-handed melee weapons, and while they all have durability, you can repair favourites with scrap in order to keep them in working order. This is why you can't buy melee weapons from merchants in the game, as someone from the studio explained, because buying stuff that breaks sucks. Finally, there's also planning your attack. Things which facilitate this approach include Deacon's binoculars, which he can use to tag enemies while scoping out encampments, tags which then give you awareness and health information about enemies as you sneak about. There are traps which Deacon can craft and place around the environment to give himself an advantage, and it pays to familiarise yourself with the area around you anyway. There are often ways to interact or explode things to help you in a fight. Deacon's drifter bike isn't based on a specific model or range of bikes, but draws inspiration from both sporty off-road adventure bikes and the custom-fit survival bike scene. Upgrading the bike is important for lots of reasons in the game, but partly because the world contains hidden areas, mostly Nero helicopters, which are only accessible on the bike once you've unlocked and equipped certain upgrades. Days Gone is made using a modified version of the Unreal 4 engine, which the developers at Ben's studio discovered doesn't have built-in support for two-wheeled vehicles. Every time you ride a motorcycle in Days Gone, think about this. Those extra wheels are still there. They're just invisible, turned horizontal, and with all physics and collision detection turned off. Let's talk about the Horde. The Horde is very difficult to take on at the beginning of the game, but it's not walled off. It's out there and you can encounter it. They exist in the world with their systemic set of behaviours, just doing what they do. You'll encounter 3 hordes along the main story path, but there are 40 of them in the world, ranging from 50 to 500 freakers. Lastly, the hordes are persistent. If you start an encounter with a horde of 300 freakers, kill 100 of them and run away, then there'll still be 200 of them when you go back. They don't regenerate instantly, although they do over time as stragglers come to join the pack. And that's it for our list of facts about Ben Studios' Days Gone. We'll have more on the game very soon before its release on the 26th of April. Like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to Access for more from the world of PlayStation.
For the players.